Warning, F-bombs are armed and will probably be dropped. I know this was supposed to go up yesterday afternoon. Yesterday just got totally crazy, and no, I didn't even come close to being able to do this. Matter of fact, I'm staying up way past my bedtime to do this now. Right. During the Thursday live stream, some things came up that I think I should address. First of all, channel policy. There's this misunderstanding about how I treat people shouting themselves out in the chat. You can drop a link to your own channel. I have no problem with that. I will drop links to guests. They get priority. They get the pinned post, right? Your own channel, right? And please don't spam the channel or the chat. Nobody likes spam. Doxing. I do not allow doxing of any sort, including self-doxing. Now, saying I live on a island in the Mississippi River, that's not doxing, right? Even if you said it was an island in Illinois, which I think actually only has one semi-habitable island, um, that's not doxing, right? Specific information that you could be tracked down with, like I live on an island off of Illinois and there's only one habitable island. Yeah, that's no. But anything below that is fine, right? Everybody knows I live literally stone's throw from California, just outside of Reno. You could theoretically track me down with that information, but good luck. Um, two, something I said in the live stream, the one that got nuked. Matthew 7:1. Judge not lest ye be judged yourself, and by the measure that ye judge, so shall ye be judged. Right. It's not a prohibition on judgment per se. It is a prohibition on harsh or cruel judgment because it's a warning that whatever judgment you use will then be used against you. You are telegraphing exactly the standard by which you expect to be judged when your time comes. That's why I really, really work to not judge. And if I have, believe me, I have spent a long time thinking about it. When I call out Antifa every chance I get, it's because they are literally a terrorist army. Nothing more, nothing less. You'll notice I've never called out homosexuals, transgender, um, uh, 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 the alphabet soup, right? Calling them the alphabet soup is the most judgmental thing I've ever said. Why? Because I'm not paying their bills and they're not hurting me. So who am I to judge them? Came up during the live stream. I have a bias towards the Air Force. It's true. Flag on the plate. I have a bias in favor of Marines. I fucking love Marines, all right? Over the course of my career, I met almost as many Marines as I met Coasties, okay? I have had bad uh, occasions, bad meetings with Marines exactly 3 times. And in all 3 cases, alcohol was definitely a factor. I'm 99% sure that the third one, if he had been sober, he would not have dared act that way. The other two, I'm Well, no, scratch that. The first two, I'm 99%. The third one, he was kind of an asshole sober, but add alcohol, he's just that much worse. Um, that's it. There would be at least 3 coasties at any given unit I was at, except Sockeye, because Sockeye was so small that I didn't get along with. Right? Those are some pretty stark statistics. 3 of all of the Marines I met versus at least 3 per unit. Now, maybe it is familiarity breeds contempt. Or maybe, just maybe, there's something that happens to you when you go through Marine Corps boot camp and OCS that you really do come out different. I'm just throwing it out there. You decide. The Air Force is exactly equal and opposite. Um, and I'm going to say this. It tends to be a problem with the enlisted. Air Force enlisted are assholes. It's as simple as that. I don't know what the fuck your problem is, people, but you're in the Air Force, all right? Your problem in life is if the air conditioning goes out. Oh, and one of the coasties that I still will never speak to again, except in the performance of my duties, which I don't have anymore. Prior Air Force enlisted. I'm just saying. My problem with the Air Force doesn't seem to be as pronounced with officers, right? I had a problem with an Air Force officer once, and that got shut down real quick by another Air Force officer. So I'm just saying, maybe Air Force officers are professional and your enlisted are assholes. You figure that out on your own. And by the way, you might want to figure this problem out, or it gets figured out for you. Okay, and yes, my bias towards the Air Force is real and it's not going away. You have nobody to blame but yourselves. Okay, I was indirectly and very professionally called out by Mike the cop. Flag on the plate. Mike was calling out other cops. I have never been a police officer, never been a sworn peace officer. As a coastie, yes, that was one of my duties, but I was never actually sworn peace officer. Mike's rant was for cops who are enforcing unconstitutional laws. Now, on the surface, that sounds perfectly right and valid and natural. No, cops do not make laws. The constitutionality of the law is not relevant. Lawmakers make laws, and we did set this system up that way. Lawmakers do not enforce laws either. As a general principle, cops on the beat do not have the authority to decide the constitutionality of a law. It is as simple as that. Now, I will continue to say that a peace officer, any peace officer, has the authority, not the right, the authority. The two very different things there. To set priorities, right? We don't need to pay somebody $25 an hour to write parking tickets. We can pay some jackass like me $15 an hour to write parking tickets. That's we need those people who are making the 25 plus dollars an hour to be out looking for people who are a menace to society. All right, we don't need you writing parking tickets. And sometimes cops write parking tickets too. That's how they caught David Berkowitz. Cops, you have the authority to set priorities. You do not have the right to decide what is the law and what is not. On that note, if you know a law is unconstitutional and nobody's getting hurt right now, you have better things to be doing with your time. Um, okay. My birthday present. I am a Tarian. I was born in late April, and that's the best you'll ever get out of me. So for my April Every Second Matters, I want to make a big shout out to all of those small and underrated pages and channels and groups and whatever, right? So give me some names. If you think I would be interested, mention them. I, I'll at least hear it out. Um, and I'm hoping to have like a dozen to highlight. All right. Question came up about duty to retreat. Oh, right, that's where I left off. Duty to retreat. Dadislav says you have no duty to retreat. And the way it's written, actually, no duty to retreat and stand your ground, or stand your ground and castle doctrine at the exact same time. You are in a place you have a right to be in, not engaged in otherwise criminal activity. You have no duty to retreat. It does not read you have an obligation to stand your ground. Now, it's an implied right to retreat. It says, may come to the aid of another. That's it. Cut it off right there. Um, some people do not like implied rights. Yes, I saw that. It's okay. Excuse me. Um, that was the best I can do. Now, I could write a 15-page uh, diatribe about when you must stand your ground and when you may not stand your ground. I'm not going to do it. There is no way to write that eloquently, right? It's just not, it's not possible. It's not going to happen. This was the best I could do in the real world. Um, Reaffirming something I said back in January, there will not be afternoon live streams on Thursdays because I'm going back to SCA and I got to figure out which Thursdays they do it. I think it was first and third. Um, I missed the first, and I did get to the second, and they were there, but there's two in particular that I care about. And I'm pretty sure it's first and third because what we did yesterday was it was not quite what I remember. Um, I want to encourage everybody to join Society for Creative Anachronisms, North South Shooter Association, that's a Civil War reenactment group, etc., and so forth. These are extremely valuable. They have extremely valuable skills, and you should really, really follow up on that. A few weeks ago, the question came up, Carrie, what are your favorite colors? Everybody assumed it's blue because I usually wear blue during live streams. No, I wear blue during the live streams because that is the colors, I say it's the colors, of the Patriots over the next 20-ish years. Um, it has been the traditional color of the militaries since 1771? Shit. You'd think a historian would remember this off the top of his head. Since the start of the Revolution, and actually it backs up a little bit further. Well before the Revolution, nearly 20 years, when George Washington put together his private mercenary army. I let that out of the bag. Because the British Army wore red, he chose blue for their uniforms to distinguish them from redcoats. Um, so yeah, it's been a continuous thing. There have been small variations, of course. The Navy did not have a uniform until somewhere during the Civil War, I believe it was. Even then, it wasn't really a uniform. It was just everybody was more or less the same. Um, through the Second World War period, the Army dress uniform was a tan color. Uh, now they're right now they're going into a brown uniform. Um, the Marines before Civil War did have a green uniform at least at one point. Um, but the overwhelming majority has been blue, 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 blue. Just blue everywhere. And that's why I wear blue. My actual favorite colors are black and red or red and black. I don't care which. See, that's how tied they are. Okay, last but not least, what happened last Thursday was the premiere. Excuse me, a week ago Thursday. They took the stream down because I supposedly handed out medical disinformation, except they say misinformation because they think that'll prevent people from suing them for uh, defamation of character. A, no, that's not how it works, you twits. And B, doesn't take the sting off. So just say it the way it is, or the way you think it is. The only ones here committing murder in the first degree through medical disinformation is YouTube. But we'll come back to that at a future date. To prevent this from becoming as much of a problem, um, I'm going to have to take my StreamYard professional. So literally, I'm begging people for money. Um, it's $10 a month, and I don't have 10 spare dollars a month. I'm asking people to uh, join the Subscribe Star, at least so I can get that up to $10 a month and be able to take the StreamYard to professional. All right, make sure I got the whole list. Yes, I did. All right, guys, I'm sorry that this is late. Just yesterday got crazy. Just starting SCA again after 2 years. Wasn't it supposed to be 2 weeks? Hmm. Kind of strange how that happened too, isn't it? But anyway, in the meantime, keep calm and mandatory carry on.